Let's continue with the 7th episode of the series Understanding Islam. In the previous episode, we explained that the Quran is internally consistent and it is in line with what we observe in the universe. If you haven't watched it yet, you can click the link above. In this episode, we will continue with a new criterion indicating that the Quran is from God, and it is related to its content and the subjects that it deals with. Does the Quran make sense for humanity? Or is it talking about things which do not really matter today? Is it in line with our nature? Does it make sense from psychological and sociological perspectives? These are deeper questions and require an analysis about the content of the Quran. To give you a general idea about the Quran, let us try to summarize its content. Here you can see the list of subjects that are most frequently emphasized in the Quran. The Quran talks about the Creator. It explains to us who He is, what type of attributes He has, and what He has created. Some sample verses are as follows. Say, He is God, the One, God, the self-sufficient One. He does not give birth, nor was He born, and there is nothing like Him. He is God, there is no deity save Him. He knows the unseen and the visible. He is the compassionate, the merciful. He is God, there is no deity save Him. The sovereign, the most pure, the source of peace, the granter of security, the protector, the mighty, the subduer, the supreme, glory be to God, who is far above what they associate with Him. He is God, the Creator, the Originator, the Giver of form. His are the most excellent names. Everything in the heavens and earth declares His glory. He is the mighty, the wise one. The Quran talks about the universe and considers the universe as evidence of the attributes of God. It is He who made the sun a shining light, and the moon a derived light, and determined for it phases, that you may know the number of years and the count of time. Allah has not created this except in truth. He details the signs for a people who know. The Quran talks about humans, including the origin of humanity, our purpose in our life, and our relationship and connection to God, how we will reach Him and gain His mercy, and how we should pray. He is the one who originates creation, then repeats it, and it is very easy for Him. His is the most exalted state in the heavens and on the earth. He is the mighty, the wise one. It is He who first produced you from a single soul, then gave you a place to stay in life, and a resting place after death. We have made our revelations clear to those who are men of understanding. And when your Lord said to the angels, Indeed, I will make upon the earth a successive authority, they said, Will you place upon it one who causes corruption therein, and sheds blood, while we declare your praise and sanctify you? Allah said, Indeed, I know that which you do not know. We created man from a drop of mingled fluid, so that we might try him. We gave him hearing and sight. It was not in play that we created the heavens and the earth and all that lies between them. And I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me. Read, in the name of your Lord who created man from a clinging substance. Read, your Lord is the most bountiful one, who taught by the pen, taught man what he did not know. The Quran talks about the Day of Judgment and the afterlife, so it gives humanity a wider perspective and shows us that our life is not limited to this short period, which is until our death. That no soul shall bear the burden of another, and that man shall have only that for which he strives, and that the fruit of his striving shall soon be seen, and in the end he will be repaid for it in full. Then, the one whose good deeds weigh heavy on the scales will have a most pleasing life. But as for him whose deeds are light on the scales, the abyss shall be his home. On that day, to your Lord alone is the recourse. On that day, man will be told of all that he has sent before and what he has left behind. Indeed, man shall be a witness against himself, in spite of all the excuses he may offer. The Quran gives us guidance about the most important aspects of social life, justice, and internal peace. So it relates us to each other, develops friendship, justice, and solidarity among people. no aristocracy. O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female, and made you into nations and tribes that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing and acquainted. Free slaves, feed poor, believe and advise patience and compassion. And have you shown him the two ways, but he has not broken through the difficult paths. And what can make you know what is breaking through the difficult paths? It is the freeing of a slave. Or feeding on a day of severe hunger, an orphan of near relationship, or a needy person in misery, and then being among those who believed and advised one another to patience, and advised one another to compassion. Those are the companions of the right. Be just in all circumstances. O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives. Whether one is rich or poor, Allah is more worthy of both. So follow not personal inclination, lest you not be just. And if you distort your testimony or refuse to give it, then indeed Allah is ever with what you do acquainted. Be kind to your parents. We have enjoined man to show kindness to his parents, but if they bid you associate with me something about which you have no knowledge, do not obey them. To me you shall all return, and I shall tell you about all that you have done. Establishing social order. They ask you about intoxicants and gambling. Say, there is great sin in both, although they have some benefit for people, but their harm is greater than their benefit. They ask you what they should spend in God's cause. Say, whatever is surplus to your needs. Thus God makes His commandments clear to you, so that you may reflect. Ethics of charity. Those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah and then do not follow up of what they have spent with reminders of it, or other injury, will have their reward with their Lord. And there will be no fear concerning them, nor will they grieve. Enjoin right and forbid wrong. And let there be a rising from your nation, inviting to all that is good, enjoining what is right and forbidding what is wrong, and those will be the successful. Actively working for the well-being of society. Indeed, Allah orders justice and conduct and giving to relatives and forbids immorality and bad conduct and oppression. He admonishes you that perhaps you will be reminded. Do not spread evil words. God does not love the utterance of evil words except in the case of someone who has been wronged. God hears and knows all. No excessive suspicion or backbiting. Believers avoid much suspicion. Indeed, some suspicion is a crime. And do not spy on one another, and do not backbite. Would any of you like to eat his dead brother's flesh? No, you would hate it. Fear God. God is ever forgiving and merciful. No arrogance and no greediness. Woe to every fault, finding backbiter, who amasses wealth, counting it over, thinking that his wealth will make him live forever. By no means. He shall surely be cast into the crushing torment. The Quran talks about the stories of previous prophets who are great examples, inspirations, and guides for today's Muslims. That way, we learn and motivate ourselves to deal with the hardships in our life. We relate to you the best of stories in what we have revealed to you of this Quran, although you were, before it, among the unaware. There was certainly in their stories a lesson for those of understanding. Never was the Quran a narration invented, but a confirmation of what was before it, and a detailed explanation of all things, and guidance and mercy for a people who believe. We believe all these subjects are the most important things, or should be the most important things, in a reasonable person's life. By accepting the principles and the perspective in the Quran, one can have a strong meaning and purpose in their life. Another important point is that the Quran is not like a novel. We say it is guidance and it is here to shape our lives and understanding. You would benefit most from it and realize most of its beauty if you organize your life according to its guidance. Thus, all in all, we believe that the Quran answers the most troubling questions in one's life, and it is completely in line with human nature, psychology, and sociology. Devote yourself single-mindedly to the religion and follow the nature, the constitution as made by God, that nature in which He has created mankind. No change should there be in the creation of Allah. That is the right religion, but most people do not realize. This concludes our current episode. In the following episodes we will continue with the next criteria, with God's permission. If you have any comments or questions, please share them with us. And don't forget to subscribe to follow our future videos. Till then, peace be upon you.